Welcome to Azeroth United, a weekly podcast about World of Warcraft. My name is Denethar, and I am your host.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Today is Tuesday, December 24th, and this is episode 67 of Azeroth United. We have a great show lined up for you today. We're going to be talking about patch 11.1 and all of the massive information dump that Blizzard left on us last week before they went on their vacation for the holiday. So thank you for that, Blizzard. There's quite a bit of information there. I'm not going to be able to go through all of it. We'll get into it, but that's where we're going to go in the episode. This is also a Christmas themed episode. You can tell by the Christmas lights going on in the background here. I'm sure that there will be some Christmas sound effects added in post-production, so enjoy that too. And we're also going to be talking about the Feast of Winter Veil that went live last week and the January trading post that was teased by Blizzard as well. So pull up a chair, sit back, relax, and enjoy. And as always, if you have any questions or comments about the podcast, or if you have a particular topic that you would like to hear discussed, please email us at azerothunitedpod@gmail.com. Also, if you're enjoying the show and you'd like to help us out, please consider leaving us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. That really helps out the distribution for the podcast. If you are watching this on YouTube, you can give us a like and a subscribe, and that would also really help us out. For those looking to do a little bit more, you can consider joining our Patreon. That is the people who give their IRL money to help us out and help with the production, help with the cost of the equipment and things like that. It's very much appreciated. We have 2 patrons right now. We have Stug Life and Judge Omni are our friend of the show patrons. So thank you to both of you. You really help make Azeroth United possible. If you want to check out the Patreon, you can. It's patreon.com/Azeroth United. And all of the links will be in our show notes or on our link tree. So before I get to the news, I wanted to do a quick rundown of what I got up to last week in World of Warcraft. I started off the week strong. I jumped into Season of Discovery at the end of last week, and I was like, this is what I'm doing this week. I'm playing Season of Discovery. This is going to be great. I got my Paladin a few levels. I started a mage, started running him through stuff. I was having a blast. The XP boost feels good. The new spells feel good. I was really digging it. I was having so much fun, honestly. The way that Season of Discovery had progressed, I was really kind of bummed with it. And I was like, I don't really like this. I don't like the stopping every few levels to do some raids and then you continue on. It felt weird. And I hope that when Blizzard gets to Classic Plus, they don't do that. But I thought this is what I'm going to be doing now for the next couple of weeks while we wait for patch 11.1 to drop. And then somebody was like, hey, you want to heal a keystone? And I was like, sure, I'll heal a keystone on my druid. Yeah, I could do that. So I went over to Siren Isle. I picked up a healing staff from the vendor there for Flame Blessed Iron. Threw a spec together, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna heal this, and I did. I healed, and I did well. I hope. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I was really digging it, and I was 100%. This is the character that I'm going to play going into season 2. I'm all in. And then somebody was like, "Hey, I want to heal Keystone. Do you have a melee DPS that you can bring in?" And I've already talked about how much I struggle on Denethar for my melee DPS. And so my immediate thought was I would bring my warrior. So a little bit of backstory. My Fury Warrior is a character that I have played on and off throughout the years, but I maxed her out at level 60 in Shadowlands. Didn't really do anything with her there. I got to Dragonflight Season 1, and I really hit the raid. I did some keystones. I was having a good time. I was trying to tank. Ended up going more Fury. Season 2, I really went hard. For the first time, I got close to KSM on a non-healer. And then season 3 hit and I got KSM. This was the first time I'd ever done it. It felt so good. I was having so much fun playing this character. And then season 4, the set bonus that players voted on for the Fury Warrior wasn't that great. And so that kind of dropped off a little bit. And I really wasn't feeling season 4 anyway. So far in so far in the War Within, I haven't really been doing very much with this character because every time I do, it's like I missed the glory days. That Dragonflight season 2 and season 3 era, it felt so good. So I was like, well, I'll bring my Fury Warrior. And then I thought about it and I was like, no, I'll bring my Demon Hunter. The Demon Hunter is a character that I've played here and there, not really a whole bunch, whatever. So I took the Demon Hunter. When I ran a Keystone on the Warrior a couple weeks ago, I think on some polls I was hitting close to 1 million, maybe 900K, and I felt pretty good about that. The Demon Hunter, it's so stupid. He's doing 2 million on these big polls with I-Beam. I was just like, wow, okay, this is dumb. So yeah, I put in some work. I ran the raid on the Demon Hunter, and I did a couple of other things on him. And I was like, okay, so I've now kind of created I'm going to play my Resto Druid and I'm going to play my Havoc Demon Hunter. And that's where I'm going to go. And I know that making a class decision the season before you know what changes are going in and how things are going to look, yeah, okay. It could go one of many ways. But this is what I'm going to start with, and this is how I'm going to approach season 2, Demon Hunter and Druid. So, and I feel like I always change my character, and I never really put the work in. But I feel like that's kind of by necessity. You have to change your character, or at least reevaluate your character every season. Because of the way Blizzard does the seasonal model now, your gameplay could change from season to season. You never know if that really cool way that you loved playing is because of the set bonus that you had and it's going to go away the next season and your character is going to feel like garbage, which is what happened to my Fury Warrior. So anyway, that's kind of where we are on that. So so I'm really looking forward to maybe running a few keys over the next couple of weeks heading into patch 11.1. Oh, the other thing that I did, and I have to mention this, so because sometimes when you do things and you're getting really frustrated in game because you're like, oh my gosh, I can't get this thing to drop. I just want this one thing to happen and it won't work, and I'm so irritated. So I was trying to get the the Fathom Dwellers Citrine or whatever, the one that everybody wanted, the Mastery one. I think it was the Mastery one. Anyway, so I was trying to get this on my Demon Hunter. So I'm over there, and the encounter, the Shuddering Hollow or whatever it's called, was bugged. So you'd get halfway through the event, and then the event would disappear. You could still kill the boss, but you wouldn't get credit for completing the event, which is what gave you the Citrine. So I'm in there, and I'm doing this again and again and again. I finally got it. I killed the boss with the event up, and I got a different gem. And I was like, what the heck? I'm supposed to get this gem. Why do I not have this gem? So I did it again. And I got another different gem. And I was like, what? Why? What is... Let me check my bags. It was in my bags. I got it at some point. I don't even remember. Yeah, I felt really bad about myself at that moment. I had probably run it 10 times after I got it. I guess. I don't even know when I got it. So yeah, that happened. That was unfortunate. But I'm glad that Blizzard opened up the Citrines because it makes the ring feel really good. Running group content with the ring feels really good. I'm digging this patch, not from oh my gosh, there's so much to do, but from all right, it's a nice little boost right at the end of the season as we head into next patch. So I like it. So anyway, that is enough of that. We have a lot to talk about, so let's get into the news.
It's time for the news.
In Blizzard news, so let's just go ahead and start off with Classic. and then we'll jump into the modern game. So phase 2 of the 20th anniversary servers, the Classic Fresh servers, will go live on January 9th, 2025. So that is going to be Dire Maul, the PvP honor system, the battlegrounds, and the world bosses, Lord Kazakh and Azurgos. So quite a bit of content, no new raids, but think of the phase 2 and phase 4, I would say, will be like a .5 patch. Phase 2, we're going to get Dire Maul and the PvP honor system and world bosses. Phase 3, we'll get Blackwing Lair, and then phase 4, we'll get Zul'Gurub. So, it works out. So if we think of classic vanilla in terms of modern seasons, then yeah, that does make sense. So season 1 is still, we probably have a good, 8 more weeks of season 1 before we get Blackwing Lair. If I had to guess, I'd say, yeah, about 2 months and we'll get Blackwing Lair. So maybe sometime around February, maybe sometime around or before or after we get the patch 11.1. So we'll see. All right. Season of Discovery Phase 7 PTR is now available. So that launched on December 20th. So it's going to include Naxxramas, the Hand of Tyr dungeon / raid / whatever it is, and whatever's going on in the Karazhan crypts. So, and Blizzard did tease that there might be additional content to come after Phase 7, but we'll see. I don't know. They're being cagey as always, especially with Season of Discovery. So, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But this is really interesting to me. So we have the PTR for Phase 7, which means it'll probably launch within, I'd say, a month, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, maybe. So I'm guessing sometime around the end of January, we'll see Phase 7. We still have no word at all, 0 word on a PTR for Cataclysm Classic, which means that the PTR for true Classic, like Cataclysm Classic, is going to take a lot longer than the PTR for Season of Discovery. So I'm guessing we're probably looking at March before we even see Dragon Soul, which is kind of wild because I was thinking the original roadmap said January. Now we're thinking March, which means, yeah, we probably won't see Mists of Pandaria a pre-patch until July, maybe March, April, May, June, July. Yeah, 4 months for Dragon Soul. I could see that. So yeah, July, August for Mists of Pandaria Classic. That could very well be what we end up with. So yeah, that's that's all. And I've told the story before, or I've mentioned before how much I love speculating on when things are going to happen. And I have my spreadsheet and I've got all my dates on there, my calendars, and I have a lot of fun with that. But yeah, this for me, that's my nerding out within a nerding out genre. So, all right, let's talk about modern World of Warcraft. So we have the Feast of Winter Veil that went live last week. It is essentially the same as in the past with a few new additions. So we have, for the abominable Grinch fight, there is a new mechanic where presents will spawn during the fight, and if you click on them, they will do different things to hurt the Grinch. So it just makes the fight more chaotic. So good job. But the really cool thing is he has a chance to, from the stolen presents that you can get just Grunch. It's not the Grunch, it's just Grunch, which is a little pet that looks like the Grinch, but it's cute. It's a cute little baby, and it's got a present on its back. It says it's best not to ask Grunch how he acquired all of these gifts because it's not because he's been nice. Ain't that the truth, Grunch? So I've got to get out there and get me some Grunch and some Grinch and all that nonsense. I might do some of that tomorrow while I'm sitting at home deciding whether or not I want to make dinner. I got a ham sitting in the fridge just waiting, but Christmas dinner is always, I'm just like, I don't want to do it. Anyway, random side thought. There is a new transmog that is available. You can pick it up in Ironforge or Orgrimmar. It is for red and green versions of the Winterveil outfit. It just looks nicer than the older ones. And it's got it's got pants, it's got a vest, it's got a jacket, it's got shorts or pants. It looks really good. So the 4 pieces are chest, waist, legs, and feet. So that will get you a complete set, and you can have all of your holiday revelry out there. I really like the fact that they are giving us options on the legs. Like, you want pants or shorts? It's up to you, because they know that guys are going to put shorts on their female characters. It's just going to happen. And I'm just saying, the belt has little fur ruffles that go around the edge that kind of make it look like little shorts. So technically you can wear just the belt and not have pants on at all. I'm not saying that I did try it. I'm not saying I didn't try it. I am just saying that, it is possible. So I'll leave the rest up to your imagination. And finally, there is a new hunter pet that is available. This is the Dreaming Festive Reindeer, and it is a tameable tenacity pet for hunters. There are 2 versions of the pets. One is a regular one, and one is a Rudolph one with the glowing red nose. So what you have to do is you have to get one of these new outfits and have transmogged all 4 pieces. So you've got to look festival-ish, Festivalicious. Or I guess you could also use the hat if you get a hat from one of the bosses. And then you have to go out to Old Hillsbrad and find the pet, and he'll have a Yuletide Dreams buff. And if you are wearing the correct outfit and all the pieces match, you can tame this pet. If you do not have the correct outfit on, the pet will despawn. So good luck, hunters. It's another new cool pet for you to enjoy. The January Trading Post preview was released by Blizzard last week, and I'm only assuming it's because they didn't want to have to release it this week because everyone's on vacation now. So they got all that together before they left the office for the holidays, which is great. That's what I used to do. I used to work at a place where we would shut down for 2 weeks over the holidays. And so you had to get everything done quickly before the shutdown happened, because you couldn't even get in the building at that point. So this was before work from home. So anyway, so the January Trading Post preview is out. We have a lot of steampunk-esque items in here, which is not really my aesthetic, but it's okay. So the Reigns of the Brilliant Sunburst Peafowl, which is a mount. It's a peafowl. It's very colorful and shiny, and it looks very pretty. And this is not for me, but it's okay. Maybe this is for you. There's the Wind Up Woofy, which is a robot dog. So if you want a robot dog, it's actually kind of cute. And it's got the little wind up thing on his back. So I'm assuming he does like tricks or jumps or dances or something. There is the steam powered golden cloak. So this is a back piece, and I've talked on this show a lot about my disdain for weapons that clip in the back. So if you put your weapon on and it clips through your shoulders or clips through your helmet or the side of your head or whatever your character looks ridiculous, I'm always on the lookout for back pieces that will hide your weapon when you have the back piece equipped. This is a little big and bulky and obnoxious, but it could work for the right character. So I might pick this one up just because I like having those options available to hide my weapon. Blizzard, if you're listening to this, or if anyone listens to this and can send it to Blizzard, please give us the option to hide our weapons when we're not in combat. I want to be able to just put it on and it just disappears, right? And then when I go into combat, the weapon comes back. But as long as I'm out of combat, I want to have that as a checkbox to say, hide my weapon, because it's just big and ridiculous. And anyway, please just consider it. That's all I'm asking. Just consider it. All right. There is a new transmog set, which is the green clockwork attire. So this is, again, it's a very steampunk, green steampunk set. It looks pretty cool. I'm not getting it. And then there's a two-handed mace, which is the golden clockwork power hammer. Honestly, it looks like a metal detector, but it's a powered hammer that you can use, and it's a big old mace. And the Steam Weedle Artifact Extractor, which is a dynamite offhand. So I guess going into patch 11.1 with the goblin theme, they're kind of leaning into the whole steampunk clockwork aesthetic. I guess clockwork is more gnomes, but anyway, doesn't matter. That's what they're doing for January's trading post. Now, they did remind us that February is the anniversary of the trading post. We'll be getting extra attendees, and they're going to be bringing back a lot, and when I say a lot, I mean a lot of old transmog things from the trading post from the past, so that we can kind of have another chance at some of those items. We don't know what's going to be on there yet, but they did kind of say, hey, you might want to consider holding on to your attendees this month. So I have 4,000, so I'm not worried, but I know some people are constantly running out of attendees because they buy all the mounts or they buy all the pets or whatever it is. So, right. So that's what's going on with the trading post. They also revealed the Traveler's Log reward, which is the green clockwork contraptions collection, which is green versions of these types of things. It's all clockwork, steampunk looking things, but they're green. So not really the most inventive set, but it's fine. Like I've said before, not everything has to be amazing. Oh, this is the greatest transmog I've ever seen. Sometimes you get a wristwatch, and that's okay. So that's the Traveler's Log reward for January. If you have not finished your Traveler's Log reward or received your Traveler's Log reward for December, definitely get on it, because that Murloc Romper onesie thing is amazing. I love it. So, I'm probably going to switch back to that after Christmas is over, because right now all my characters are geared up for Christmas. But going into January, I'll probably go back to the Murloc Romper. So, one thing that I will say about the trading post, and I have to have a confession here. A couple weeks ago, I made a comment about the two-handed mace that looks like a wrapped present on the trading post, and kind of belittled it and talked about how this is ridiculous. And somebody commented on that, saying, oh, come on, just because you don't like it doesn't mean other people don't. You shouldn't talk about stuff like that, blah, 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 whatever. That's fine. I bought it because I needed it to complete my holiday look, and I needed a weapon, and I didn't like the giant candy cane one, so I went with the present. I know. I surprised myself by doing it, but here you go. I bought the giant wrapped present two-handed mace, so there you go. I am a hypocrite. All right, let's talk about what's going on this week in World of Warcraft. This is the War Within Season 1, Week 16. The +2 affix this week is Devour. So this is the heal absorb that you have to either heal off or dispel off. So this is the week to make sure you have if you're a healing class, make sure you have your dispel available, or mage. Whatever it is, remove curse, remove poisons, blah, blah, blah. You know what your class can do. If not, I'm pretty sure there's a Wowhead page that lists out every single ability that players can use to get rid of this affix. But we're week 16. At this point, you kind of need to know how to deal with these affixes. But some classes can't. Some classes, like I've been talking about playing my Demon Hunter, I can't do anything. There is literally nothing he can do about this affix, except for heal himself with orbs. Or the soul fragments. So that's kind of frustrating when you have that situation where you have a class that can't do anything. You have classes like a warrior or a rogue who don't have a good option, but they do have an option. Whereas or warlock, Death Knight you can do anti-magic shell, and then you can have your anti-magic shell remove a magical effect, and it just increases the cooldown. So I would definitely go that route if you're a Death Knight. But yeah, it's this one's not particularly difficult to deal with. It's frustrating when you can't get your thing off, and the healer's scrambling, trying to heal everyone up or trying to dispel, and it's a mess. So love your healers. Spec into your dispel, spec into a healing move, something. Do something to help out in these trying times. +4 affix this week is Tyrannical. You know it, you hate to see it. Bosses have 25% more health and deal 15% more damage. This week's going to be a slog. Just know that. Everybody's going to have, they're going to have to spec into their dispels, and you've got extra boss health and damage. So, yeah, this one's gross. But it's okay. I feel like it's still better than the old affix system. I know some people are like, oh, I miss the old ways of Sanguine and all this. No, these Zalatas bargain affixes are fine. The one I don't like is this Challenger's Peril. I haven't done anything higher than a 4 this season. And part of the reason why I have no incentive to push is because I'm like, well, where am I going to go? I'm not going to do a 7. I don't have that in me. I'm not that level of player. I'm a low core Mythic Plus player, mid core, low core, whatever you want to call it. I'm not doing anything that high. I'm just not. So to me, there's no incentive to push because that's my cap. And so why would I do anything above a 4? It just doesn't make sense for me. So I'm getting my crests. I'm getting my gear or my vault reward. So I don't see a reason to go 5 or 6. Anyway, that's just me. All right. The weekly events this week are the Arena Skirmish event. So you'll get the Sign of the Skirmisher buff, which will increase honor gains from Arena Skirmishes by 50%. You can pick up the quest The Arena Calls in Dornogal to win 10 Arena Skirmish battles, and you will get Conquest and Honor. So if you're into the Arena Skirmishes, that's great. I am not into the Arena Skirmishes, and I will not be doing this event. You couldn't pay me. I guess you could pay me to do it, but I wouldn't do it well. I know I wouldn't do it well, and it would be... I would have to do it from a comedic standpoint. That's the only way I could manage to do Arena Skirmish 10. Not just do 10. You have to win 10 skirmishes. Oh my gosh. No, thank you. The PvP brawl for this week is South Shore versus Terran Mill. 40v40 deathmatch. So the Horde on the Terran Mill side, the Alliance on the South Shore side, running back and forth, trying to avoid the guards, having Death Knights pull you into the main enemy group. It's fun. It's fun. It's very reminiscent of the old days that this is what we used to do when we didn't have battlegrounds. We created our own battlegrounds and we ran back and forth between South Shore and Terra Mill. So it was fun. I had a good time doing that back in the old days. This one's fun. I don't necessarily need to do it every time it shows up, but every now and then I'll pop in and do one. So it's nice. When you zone into the brawl, you'll get the quest Something Different, which asks you to win a PvP brawl, and when you do so, you will be rewarded with Conquest, Honor, and Marks of Honor. So there you go. The classic time walking is back now that we've had Cataclysm last week. So we're back to classic. So you get your Dire Maul, your Stratholme, your Zul'Farrak, and your Deadmines. You'll get the Sign of the Past buff, which is classic reputation gains from combat and quest increased by 50%. You can pick up the quest An Original Path Through Time from Bobber near the Caverns of Time, and it will ask you to complete 5 time walking dungeons, and you'll be rewarded with a Bronze Celebration Cache of Treasures, which is a champion track BRD item. So, it's fine. And just remember, I know we only have 2 more weeks of this, but the original Journey Through Time is the leveling version of this quest. An Original Path Through Time is the max level version of the quest. So if you have a character that you leveled up and they still have an original Journey Through Time, you will not get the champion piece of gear when you complete it. You're best off to just drop that and pick up the new one and start your 5 over again. So, all right, that is it for the news. There's a bunch of other stuff that's been going on. There's a lot of data mining for the Season of Discovery PTR. I'm not going to get into all that. I don't like going into the data mining for Season of Discovery. I'll talk about it for anything else, but not for Season of Discovery, because the whole point of that is to go find stuff out. And WoW players have just created this whole industry of, well, we've got to data mine everything. And so now we data mine our let's go discover it for fun version of WoW, and it just doesn't make any sense to me. So I won't talk about any of the PTR stuff for for Phase 7 of Season of Discovery, but we are going to talk about some of the PTR stuff for Patch 11.1 Undermined. So let's get into the main topic of the week.
It's time for the main topic of the week.
All right, let's get into this Patch 11.1 Undermined preview. So they did a Wowcast with Link C interviewing some really, unfortunately, very awkward devs. I forget the guys' names, but one of the guys couldn't even look at her. I know that they're just trying all the different devs to see who's good on camera and who's not. These guys, one of the guys was not. He was struggling. And you could tell he was really hurting. So, anyway, I don't mean to like make fun of the guy. I'm just saying, I get what they're doing. I understand, but he was very uncomfortable to watch. So, all right, let's just hit the high level first, and then we'll go into some detail on some of these items. So, patch 11.1 is the Undermined. So we're going to make our way to the Undermined, where Gallywix is, and we're going to fight Gallywix, and we're going to partner with the 4 Goblin cartels. We're going to get a car. We're going to do all this stuff. So we'll go through the list. First off, the 4 Goblin cartels. So I had it written down, but I don't have it in front of me. But it's the Blackwater Cartel, the Steam Needle Cartel, the Venture Company Mining, and the I knew I was going to forget the the one that's the Horde faction. Anyway, the Bilgewater. Jeez. Oh, why do I do this to myself? So you'll be able to partner with one of those 4 every week, and you'll get different rewards depending on who you partner with. It does not give this isn't like choosing a covenant. This is just like choosing one of the Nerubians to partner with in Ashkahet. So the Drive Mount is the new car that you're going to get. It is, per Blizzard, it is 3 to 5 times faster than a ground mount, depending on how you do it. So it works similarly to skywriting, where you have to actively maintain your speed in order to keep it moving. And it can be faster than skywriting at full speed. So depending on how it goes, you might be able to actually go faster than skywriting. And there will be timekeeper races for players similar to the skywriting races, except these will be run by goblins instead of by dragons. So delves, there's 2 new delves. There is Extraction Site 9 and Side Street Sluice. There's a new Zekvir style delve that is coming as well. They have not given us more details on it, except that it is called the Gobtrotter. Actually, that's the new mount. The new delve, they haven't told us what it is. The new mount is the Gobtrotter. And it's going to have, you can customize it just like the dirigible. So, Bran, who is our delve companion again for season 2. Now, what they said was they originally were going to have him switch the delve companion between seasons. And then they decided they would rather have the delve companion switch between expansions. So Bran is now the delve companion for the entirety of the War Within, and then in Midnight we'll get a different delve companion. And you know what? Honestly, that makes a lot more sense. Then you can kind of work with and grow and have a character that you can get to know and customize exactly the way you like. So that's pretty cool. Speaking of customizing Bran, he will also get a tank specialization. He will get a range tank specialization. Now, where have we heard about a range tank specialization using a gun and a shield before? Yeah. So, I think that this will be really good for characters or for players who play a non-tank class. Even if you're a DPSer, it would be good to have Bran as a tank. So, when I was running delves on my Havoc Demon Hunter, I found that when I would go into, say, for example, Biomancer Cavern, I could do the whole thing as Havoc. But the last boss, I really struggled with doing it as Havoc. I had to switch to Vengeance. When I switched to Vengeance, it was actually trivial, which honestly just goes to how poorly designed the delves were, or poorly implemented the delves were. But regardless, Bran will now have a tank spec, and so he will be able to go in there, and so you can stay in your DPS, or if you're a healer, you can stay healing, and hopefully complete those delves without having to have a tank or be a tank. So there you go. And then there's going to be new Goblin Curios added that will give players a pilotable mech suit in Delves, which will be kind of interesting. So we'll see how that goes. All right, for the season 2 launch. So we're gonna get 1 week. So the patch will launch, and then 1 week later we'll get season 2. There's going to be a new arena map, which is the Cage of Carnage. It's a small scale arena map, so it'll be really good for those close in arena matches. You know, sometimes you just want that slugging fest in the middle of it. Actually looks pretty good. It's got some ramps, and yeah, it looks like a good map. The new dungeon, which is Operation Floodgate, I have the name written down this time. I don't have to try and remember it. And then the new raid is the Liberation of Undermine, where Gallywix is the last boss. Should be pretty good. I'm really looking forward to it. Okay. We'll just mention this, but we're going to get into more details about the tier sets in a minute. The tier set bonuses will be based on both role and specialization. So role-based bonuses are based on certain buffs. So like, for example, tanks will be luck of the draw, ranged DPS will be jackpot, healers will be insurance, and whatnot. So then the 2-piece bonus will be role-based, and the 4-piece set bonus will be specialization-based. So yeah, it'll be interesting, and we'll go through and I'll kind of explain some of the nuance there. But I actually think it's good. They're going to have to tweak some of these set bonuses because some of them aren't going to be great, and some of them are flat out wrong. And I know that it's because they're data mined, so sometimes you don't get when things are data mined, they're not complete. They haven't finished putting all of the information together, and we're just going in there grabbing it early. So when they're ready to announce what all the set bonuses are, we'll be able to see it. We'll get a better idea at that point of whether or not these are any good. Okay, there is going to be a robot dinosaur T-Rex versus a robot giant gorilla boss fight in the Liberation of Undermine raid. This is like the coolest thing ever. A robot Godzilla versus King Kong fight. Come on. How great is this going to be? So I know the fight's going to be terrible, and we're all going to hate the mechanics, and this is going to be the worst fight ever. But it's still, in concept, it's really cool. And we will be able to get a T-Rex Mechasaur mount from that fight. So that'll be pretty cool. You can get a rideable T-Rex. Really looking forward to that one. And then story mode will be back for the Liberation of Undermine raid. Story mode was just the last boss with very, very, very simplified mechanics, so that you can at least see the fight, and then you get the story at the end of it, which will allow you to you'll get a quest to complete the raid, and then when you do, you get a crest. Enchanted crest for crafting a piece of gear. So this one would be back for season 2, and I think it will launch the second week of season 2. So yeah, so pretty cool. All right, so that's the overview. Let's talk about first. Let's go to the new renown. So there's a new renown for the raid. This is not a renown for the Goblin factions. This is literally for doing the raid. And so I actually think this is really smart how they're doing this. It's called the Galagio Loyalty Rewards Club. Like the Bellagio, but it's the Galagio, right? Get it? Wink, wink. Very, very clever. So different renown ranks will give you different things. Some of them will be like, oh, you get transmog stuff here, cosmetics, whatnot. Some interesting steps here. The stacking damage buff that we had in the Arabian Palace will be back, but except we'll be getting it in the Renown track instead. So Renown 4, you get a 3% buff. Renown 7, you get a 6% buff. Renown 10, you get a 9% buff, and so on. It'll go to Renown 19, where you'll get an 18% damage buff. So yeah, that's pretty good. And then other rewards. So at Renown 8, you'll get the raid skip. So you'll be able to skip to the last boss, or I guess the last two bosses. Renown 14 will have an augment rune dispenser, so you're able to get between 1 and 3 augment runes, which will be really cool. Renown 17, you'll get a puzzling cartel chip, which is the new dinar. If you remember the dinar from Shadowlands Season 4, and then we had it again in Dragonflight Season 4, except it was called I forget what it was called. Anyway, yeah, and then Renown 20, you'll get a raid portal, so you'll be able to portal directly to the raid. I don't know what the cooldown on that is, but yeah. So, but about these puzzling cartel chips, so we'll be able to purchase a piece of gear, and it'll work similarly to the Awakened gear in Dragonflight Season 4, where it went all the way from tier or the upgrade track 1 to 14. You just upgrade it the whole way. Yeah, it's pretty good. I like this because it it allows you to see your progress. You don't have some like obscure thing that you're keeping track of. It's just, no, I know how this is going to go. Now, we don't know how much renown we're going to get from the raid. If I had to guess, I would say it's going to be abysmally low the first week, and everyone's going to complain, and then Blizzard is going to buff it, and it'll be fine after that. I don't know why I think that. I have just this random wild idea that Blizzard is going to mess that up the first week and then fix it right away, but not before people have already run the raid. So, and there's no heroic week this time, so it'll be Mythic releasing right off the bat with season 2. So there you go. That's the new renown that we're gonna have. So pretty cool. Okay, let's talk about crests in season 2. So first of all, everything is gonna they're gonna have the same names, except they're all gonna be called Undermine crests. So gilded Undermine crests, runed Undermine crests, and so on, which is fine. The only thing that's really changing about the crests this time around is that the gilded crests currently are only available from Mythic Raid and +8 Keystones and above. So you'll be able to get them from the Delver's Bounty tier 8 and above, and from the Delve's Gilded Stash at tier 11. So this actually gives us some incentive to run Delves at something higher than an 8. So if you run an 11, you can get your gilded crests. 11s are rough. They are rough. So unless you are a tank or have a really well coordinated group and everyone knows their parts really well and does good damage, 11s are going to stink. But it is possible to go and farm at least for a day tier 11 delves, because it has to be the you have to have the key for it. So, all right, let's talk about the upgrade system here. So, as we have grown to experience, Blizzard is increasing the item levels on all of our gear by 39 item levels. So, what's going to happen is, right now, if you are wearing mostly Delve gear, you're going to be around item level 619 if it's all upgraded without having any gilded crests. So item level 619 will be the new Adventurer track 4 out of 8. So just to give you an idea of where we are going to be gear-wise, if your character right now has item level 16 gear, in Season 2, that's going to be Adventurer track 4 out of 8 equivalent gear. The new system will go all the way up to item level 678 with gilded crests. I have a little chart that I'll post, and there's a guy that always posts it on Reddit too. He has his little chart. His is way better than mine, but I'll still put mine in the I'll have it in the show notes, or if you're watching this on YouTube, I'll pop it up on the screen. So yeah, so just be ready for your item level to change. Just know going in that if you're trying to grind out that last bit of gear, and you're not above 620, it might not really even matter at this point. So, I'm not saying don't grind out gear, play the game the way you want to play it. But don't fool yourself into thinking you're going to equip yourself for Season 2, because your gear is going to go back down to being pretty low, compared to the rest of the stuff. So anyway, all right, and everything is going to work the same in terms of upgrades and crests and how much everything costs. We talked about, it was last week or 2 weeks ago, the discounts that are available now for crests. So it's 45 crests to buy a 15 pack of the higher level crests. So if you have, if you're item level 619, you can spend your crests to buy your runed crest to buy gilded crests. So you're now buying them at a 3-to-1 ratio instead of a 6-to-1 ratio. So it's a pretty significant bargain. I just picked up 60 gilded crests today because I had like 200 rune crests just sitting there. So anyway, so that's all coming in with the new season. Mythic Plus changes. So let's talk about the Mythic Plus changes. First of all, they have this new account-wide achievement for Keystones, and it's called the War Within Keystone Legend Season 2. So right now we have Keystone Champion, Keystone Hero, or Keystone Master, Keystone Hero, and then we're adding in Keystone Legend. So Keystone Legend is going to require a Mythic Plus rating of at least 2850, which is significant. That's a lot of high-level dungeons. But what it's going to give you is crazy. So if you are farming high-level Mythic Plus, or you want to, maybe you've been watching everything going on, you're like, man, I can do that. I can play that well. This is what you're going to get out of this. So if you deplete a key and you have this achievement, you will no longer, your key cannot reduce below Keystone 12. So you will always have at least a 12 Keystone available to you, which means that if you get this achievement, you essentially never have to interact with the Xal'atath's Bargain affix. You will always have the plus 12 affix. They're also going to make it so that your weekly vault will not decay below 12 if you have this achievement. So if you miss a few weeks and you come back and you're expecting your Keystone to have dropped, no, it won't go below a 12. So this basically gets you to the 12 and above category, and then it will keep you there. You won't, because right now what happens is if you have a 12 and you run a 12 with a group and somebody screws up and you don't time the key, now you're back to an 11, and that stinks because you got to deal with the affix. You basically, they call them homework keys, right? Where you've got to go and do this key that you don't really want to do, but you got to do it, and to get back to where you want to be. So yeah, the Blizzard is trying to address this particular issue with high-level players, which I think is good, because oftentimes high-level players are very loud. Now, they're not really giving anything to the low-level players here, but that's okay. All right, let's talk about affixes. So the affixes are they're combining all of the buffs, the mob buffs from the affixes. So it says unified enemy buffs on all Xal'atath's Bargain affixes with Xal'atath's Gift, increasing damage done to up to 50% and reducing damage taken up to 100% for 20 seconds on all nearby enemies in combat. So if you don't do any of the mechanics from sub 12, so if you're 2 through 11 and you don't do the Xal'atath's Bargain affix, this is what you will get. The enemies will do up to 50% more damage, and they will take up to 100% less damage, which basically means they will be invincible for the duration of this. So you have to do the affixes. You can't not do them. There's going to be a new affix that's going to come in called Pulsar. And this is going to replace Oblivion. So Oblivion is one with the orbs that come across and you have to intercept them. This is instead going to be orbs that go around your character, and I guess you have to intercept them in a different way. I'm not sure. We don't know exactly how this is going to work yet. So hopefully it works a little bit better than the Oblivion one, because the Oblivion one was really buggy. Xal'atath's Guile, which is the plus 12 affix, is being redesigned. It causes keystones above level 12 to increase health and damage of enemies by 12% per level instead of 10% per level. So basically what it's going to do is it's just going to increase. They're going to increase faster as you go above 12 instead of having the damage component on there. So this will help smooth out the 11 to 12 transition and make it so players who actually want to get into those higher level keys can do so in a easier fashion. So, and get them to that 2850 Keystone Legend ranking. Okay, Voidbound has been redesigned. So this is the one with the mob that you have to burn down that has a shield around it. So it says Dark Prayer now has a 15-second cast time and grants all nearby enemies in combat Xal'atath's Gift when the cast completes. No longer grants damage reduction while active. So this is all right, you've got 15 seconds to get this down. And as long as you do it, you have no negative effects. But if you don't do it, you have all the negative effects. This is much better. This is much, much better. Because the old way, yeah, you got negative effects while you were burning it down, which didn't feel good. I didn't really like that one. And then it says potency of Xal'atath's gifts granted by Dark Prayers based on the remaining shield percentage on the Void Emissary. So depending on how much you were able to get down is how much of a buff they get. So there you go. All right. We'll talk about one more thing, and then I want to talk about these tier sets. So the last thing is the warband. So they are adding camp groups. So it says additional camp groups can now be created on the character select screen with a maximum of 20 groups. Groups can be renamed or deleted by right-clicking the group header button. New warband campsite backgrounds can now be unlocked for the character select screen. A list of available campsites can be found in the new tab in the warband collections pane, which we can't see yet because there's no PTR up yet. Collected campsites can be accessed and displayed from the menu button at the top of the character select screen. From here, you can assign a campsite background for a specific group or for all players, set a campsite as a favorite, or randomize from your favorites. If there's no favorite set, one will be chosen at random. So basically what's going to happen is you can group your characters now in groups of 4. So you could say, I want to have all my tanks in a group. I want to have all my characters on the Illidan server in a group. I want to have all my characters on Cenarian Circle in a group. You can do that. You can say, I want to have my 4 favorite characters in a different group and have up to 20 groups of the way your characters are broken out. So this is to help when you're scrolling through an endless list of a billion characters because you've created so many damn alts. So there you go. The warbands that have been data mined so far. So you have the original Campfire. You've got the Nightfall Sanctum, which is the Arathi airship in Hallowfall. You've got the Galagio Grand Gallery with the spotlights and it looks pretty good. You've got Feywold Spring, which is in Dornagal, or it's the village south of Dornagal, and then a campfire location that looks like it could either be on the Isle of Dorn or maybe in like somewhere in Dragon Isles, like Onaran Plains or something. I don't know. We'll see. And this is all data mined. So Blizzard hasn't actually announced any of this stuff. The only thing that we do know is that the Feywold Spring campsite background will be available from the achievement All That Kaz, which is completing a list of achievements in Kazalgar. So you might even have that completed already, but it's a new achievement that will reward you with a campsite background. So if you really hate the campsites, the way that they are implemented currently in the game, this is great news for you because it will give you some customization options. I personally am looking forward to being able to organize my characters better because right now I'm so frustrated because it's like, okay, well, I've got my 4 main characters and that's great, but I want to start working on some alts. And sometimes I forget that I have characters that are way down below. And I'm like, oh, I forgot about that character. I gotta take them over to the Caverns of Time and try and do some of the trivia questions and whatnot. So, I like this. I think it's good. The warbands was a great addition to the game, and I think that Blizzard has been able to. Players wanted changes immediately, and so they were able to tell us, yes, changes will come, but you have to be patient. And now that I'm seeing what they're going to give us, I'm like, no, this is good. This is worth it. I'm happy about this. Now, obviously, I have to see what it actually looks like and how this interface works because I'm a big user interface person. If the user interface is bad, I'm not going to like it. But regardless, this is a really good change, and I'm hoping that this is now something that, what if we get a new camp background every new raid? That would be really cool. I would actually really like that. So anyway, that's the warbands. All right, let's talk about these tier sets because there was a lot of grumbling when this was first announced. And like I said earlier, some of these were data mined. Some of these were shown to us by Blizzard. We don't know exactly what this is going to look like because we're still 2 months out from this patch. And things can change so fast in a PTR. We don't even have a PTR up yet. Okay, so I know that there's an instinct to look at something, Demon Hunters are going to be trash this tier. Druids are going to be trash this tier. That's the instinct. Fight against it. Stay with me here. We're going to be okay. We'll get through this. All right. First of all, each of the 4 roles in the game will have a different buff that they get during combat. So this is the 2-piece set bonus. So the 2-piece set bonus for tanks is called Luck of the Draw. And what it does is it causes you to cast one of your tank cooldowns randomly for like 4 seconds. So, for example, the Druid one, Guardian Druid, set bonus. Each time you take damage, you have a chance to activate Luck of the Draw, causing you to cast Survival Instinct for 4 seconds. Your damage done is increased by 15% for 8 seconds after Luck of the Draw activates. That is really simple. Sometimes when you take damage, you magically proc one of your tank cooldowns for 4 seconds. Okay, that's fine. Now, people are mad because they say, I don't like random tank cooldowns, and I agree with that. What I like about this, though, is that it's a surprise. Hey, you're not going to take as much damage for a few seconds. Maybe your healer is struggling. Maybe it can line up perfectly with a boss hit that you didn't have a cooldown for. Yes, there would be better ways to do this, I'm sure. But this isn't a bad thing. It's just not ideal for what maybe players would want. What this gives us, though, is it gives you this buff that allows you to do something else with the 4-piece, and that's what they're going for here. So let's go back to Guardian Druid. For Guardian Druid, the 4-piece set bonus, after you gain Luck of the Draw, which is your 2-piece proc, your next 10 Druid abilities cast another Druid ability at 125% effectiveness. So this is a damage component to this that basically makes you do more of what you wanted to do. So if you after you get this Luck of the Draw, you hit Maul, it might cast Mangle at 125% effectiveness. It might cast Moonfire. It might cast Thrash. I don't know exactly what the lineup is. We don't know. We're just speculating based on this little bit of information, but I feel like that could be useful. Now, is that the most powerful tank set bonus ever? No, of course not. It's not even close. But in order to help balance all of these classes and say, hey, who has the best set bonus? Well, everybody has basically the same set bonus. Druids get Survival Instincts. Brewmasters get Fortified Brew. Paladins get Guardian of the Ancient Kings. Warriors get Shield Wall. The Death Knight one says Survival Instincts as well, which obviously is a mistake because Survival Instincts is a Druid spell. But I would imagine that Blood Death Knights would get something like Icebound Fortitude or something along those lines. So, what about melee DPS? All right, so melee DPS, theirs is a little different. So they get something called Winning Streak, and so I'm not gonna read Frost DK because I'll talk about that in a second. Let's read Havoc Demon Hunter. The 2-piece set bonus, your spells and abilities have a chance to activate a winning streak. So we're still with the casino theme here. Winning streak, increasing the damage of your Blade Dance and Chaos Strike by 1%, stacking up to 10 times. So we're going to go up to 10% damage. Blade Dance and Chaos Strike have a 15% chance to remove winning streak. So what happens is, as you go, you're going to stack this thing up. So more Blade Dance, more Chaos Strike, 1%, 2%, 3%, up. That 50% procced, it removed it. So you could get it up to 10%, or maybe it drops off after, say, 5% or 6% or something like that. Or maybe you only get 2% out of it and then it drops off because you got unlucky that time. Well, your winning streak didn't last very long, did it? That's what happens at a real casino. So there you go. All right, so now the 4-piece set bonus for Havoc is Winning Streak persists for 7 seconds after being removed by Blade Dance or Chaos Strike. Entering Demon Form sacrifices your winning streak to gain 1% critical strike per stack consumed, last 15 seconds. So this one, it allows you to keep your winning streak for 7 seconds. So whatever percentage you got to, so let's say you got to 6%, you keep that for 7 more seconds after it goes away. If you go into demon form, you get rid of winning streak, and instead you gain 1% critical strike per stack of winning streak that you consume. So if you were at 6% winning streak, you're going to get a 6% critical strike. And that lasts for 15 seconds. So maybe not the most powerful set bonus that you could imagine, but it will increase your damage, and it's not substantially going to change your gameplay because you're going to be pressing Blade Dance and Chaos Strike throughout the entirety of your Havoc Demon Hunting during the game. So you just play the game like you normally do, not these weird set bonuses like, oh, well, if you don't cast Throw Glaive, your damage is going to be 2. So and again, these still have a ways to go before they're finalized. For example, let's go back up to Frost DK, because this one is amazing. So the 2-piece set bonus is your spells and abilities have a chance to activate a winning streak. So again, with the winning streak, because it's melee DPS, increasing the damage of your Frost Strike and Glacial Advance by 2%, stacking up to 5 times. Okay, that's not that great, but I'm not gonna say no to free damage, right? Obliterate has a 15% chance to remove winning streak. So, so now, as long as you don't cast Obliterate, you get to keep your winning streak, but as soon as you cast Obliterate, now you have a chance to ruin it. So this one seems kind of weird. It's like they're taking the gambling and really amping it up here. It's like, okay, if you do something different though, you do your big power move, oh, you could lose everything. So yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about this one. The 4-piece is winning streak stacks 3 additional times. While on a winning streak, your Frost Strike and Glacial Advance have a chance to cast Frost Scythe at 50% effectiveness. Frost Scythe now also benefits from winning streak. Now, that I don't really like Frost Scythe, but again, I don't really play Frost DK, so I don't know. But I read that one because it's the second one down the list, and I thought, wow, that's terrible. So there you go. That's melee DPS is the winning streak. All right, let's talk about ranged DPS. So ranged DPS is casters and ranged hunters. So the 2-piece set bonus is Jackpot. Jackpot is, again, with the gambling theme. So your damaging spells have a chance to hit a jackpot, growing... This is Balanced Druid. We're going for Balanced Druid here. 2-piece. Your damaging spells have a chance to hit a jackpot, growing a wild mushroom at a nearby enemy's location at 100% effectiveness. Casting Celestial Alignment or Incarnation of a Loon always hits a jackpot. Okay. That one, there's no risk reward here. It's just a reward. You've hit the jackpot. So if you just do your normal thing, you could get a wild mushroom at 100% effectiveness. Just show up. If you cast Celestial Alignment or Incarnation, you also get a jackpot. So, I mean, again, it's not amazing, but it's like, okay, I'll take it. It's free damage. The 4-piece set bonus is Starfall and Star Surge damage against targets affected by your wild mushroom's damage over time effect is increased by 20%. So again, we're playing off of the jackpot, and now we're going to increase our damage based on any targets that had that overpowered mushroom that damaged them. So another example would be Fire Mage. 2-piece, your damaging spells have a chance to hit a jackpot, reducing the cooldown of combustion by 3 seconds. Casting combustion always hits a jackpot at 200% increased effectiveness. Now, I will not say no to that. The 4-piece is when you hit a jackpot, your damage is increased by 15% for 7 seconds. If you would gain jackpot from combustion, the duration is increased by 100%. This is just good. I feel like there's no downside to this. It feels good because it's just extra damage. Whereas the melee one there's the risk and reward for it. So I don't know. I feel like these are good. People didn't like them. They said it was lazy. I feel like this is brilliant. I think this is a great way to normalize these set bonuses so they don't get out of control. Blizzard doesn't have to balance 39 different specs. And, you're dealing with not just balancing all your specializations, but now your hero talents as well. It's so much work. And that's one of the reasons why you have these meta specs for Mythic Plus, because you have certain classes that have a really good set bonus, or they happen to have a really good buff this patch around. And it's hard to balance that. It really is. Even if it's 2% damage, that's what's going to be picked over somebody else. All right. The final one is the healer. And I don't like the healer one at all, but we'll see how it goes. So we're going back up to Restoration Druid. So the 2-piece set bonus is, or the buff that you get for the 2-piece is called Insurance. Yeah. So the 2-piece set bonus, your healing spells have a chance to apply Insurance to their targets, then heals them over 15 seconds. Insurance is consumed if any ally drops below 40% health to heal them. Okay. So, I mean, it's good because it's like they're going to get this extra hot. And then if they drop low, it's like an extra heal, which is good. But as a healer, I don't like when random things happen, because I might already have hit a cooldown to save that person, and now they just got healed above a certain threshold, and I'm like, well, I just wasted a cooldown. I don't like that. I would rather just have my healing spells be more effective. But the 4-piece set bonus is Life Bloom has a 30% chance to apply insurance to its target for 10 seconds. When insurance is consumed or removed, it leaves a missing rejuvenation, regrowth, or wild growth heal over time effect for 15 seconds on its target. So again, this is I feel like this has a chance to be good. It might need to be tweaked a little bit. I don't know. I feel like this particular one is good because it adds more to it. So this is going to increase your overall throughput, but isn't really going to help you. This doesn't really feel like healing insurance. This feels more like just overall healing throughput. If I want my healing meter to look good, then yeah, you're going to need your 4-piece. So I don't know. Let's look at one more. This is the Resto Shaman. The 2-piece, your healing spells have a chance to apply insurance to their targets and heal them over 15 seconds. Insurance is consumed if any ally drops below 40% to heal them. Same thing. The 4% bonus, when you cast Healing Rain, one ally in the radius has insurance applied to them. When insurance is consumed, your next chain heal, healing surge, or healing wave is increased by 10%. That's okay. That one's fine. I mean, that one I don't dislike, but it's not exciting. The other ones are at least interesting. You're like, ooh, I'm gambling. I might be on a winning streak. I don't know. This is fun. I hit the jackpot. This is just like, yeah, this person might not die. They might still die. Who knows? I don't know. I feel like the healing one needs to be tweaked a little bit. But I'm not a developer, so I'm over here armchair developing, and I don't know what I'm talking about. So I just know that I read this and I think, well, that doesn't sound very good. But again, what do I know? So, all right. So yeah, there's all of these set bonuses are here it was on Wowhead, and because they were data mined, and you can go through and read them all yourself. I guarantee you the majority of these are going to change in some capacity, percent go up and down. The spell is going to get changed. Maybe some of the interactions, the way that the bonuses work, the way the buffs work, stuff will get changed. We have 2 months before this patch goes live. It's going to change. So don't be too upset or too proud. I didn't even mention the prop paladin one. The prop paladin one is crazy. Protection. The 2-piece is every time you take damage, you have a chance to activate Luck of the Draw, causing you to cast Guardian of Ancient Kings for 4 seconds. Your damage is increased by 15%. For 10 seconds after Luck of the Draw activates, the 4-piece set bonus, while you have Luck of the Draw, Shield of the Righteous refunds 1 to 3 holy power and extends the duration of Luck of the Draw by 0.5 seconds up to 10 seconds. So you can extend that buff by spamming Shield of the Righteous, which refunds holy power. So you can do more Shield of the Righteous. Oh my gosh. That one sounds a little OP. That one might get nerfed. I'm guessing here. It might get nerfed. So anyway, yeah, so definitely check that out on your own. I would say just kind of read through it, look at your class and see what you think about it. Imagine playing your character and how that would feel if that buff were to go off periodically throughout a boss fight. So because I feel like feedback doesn't have to be positive, but it has to be constructive. So even if you have something negative to say, like, hey, I don't like this and here's why, or here's how I think it could be done better, that's good feedback. Saying this sucks, it's lazy, Blizz is lazy, that's not good feedback. That's terrible feedback. That doesn't help at all. All that says is you're mad and you don't know how to express yourself. So work on how to give constructive feedback to Blizzard. They may not listen to it, but if you give constructive feedback, you know you've done your part. Let them worry about their part, but at least you know you've done your part. If you just complain for the sake of complaining and you're slamming people on Reddit, you're not doing your part. You're just complaining. You're just whining. You're whinging. So, all right. That's going to wrap up our show for today. I've talked about this long enough. There is so much more information that was released about patch 11.1, and I was not able to go through it all, but I definitely will be going through all of the PTR data mining, and when the PTR is launched, I will go on there and check all of that out. So this patch looks to be pretty amazing, so I'm hoping that Blizz is able to deliver on it. But again, like I said, make sure you keep your feedback constructive. It doesn't have to be positive, but it has to be constructive, or it should be constructive. It doesn't have to be. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not your dad. All right. Thank you so much for listening and for watching. I always appreciate it. It is a pleasure and a privilege for me to get on this microphone and speak to you. So thank you very much. If you want to get a hold of me directly, you can reach me on Twitter. I'm at Denethar, or on Blue Sky. I am at Denethar on that platform as well. I generally prefer Blue Sky these days, just because it's a little bit more positive of a place to be, but I still do go on to X Twitter. You can also occasionally catch me streaming on Twitch or on YouTube. I am at Denethar01 on both of those platforms. And if you want to check out the Azeroth United Discord or the Azeroth United Patreon, all of those links will be available in our link tree, which is linktr.ee/Azeroth United. And this will all be in the show notes, so you can just click on the link that you want. Our YouTube page, our Spotify, our X and Twitter and Blue Sky for the Azeroth United account. I had to create a separate accounts for myself and for the podcast. So anyway, like I said, that'll wrap it up for us today. Thank you again so much. And remember to be good to each other out there. That's a real person on the other side of that keyboard. And just because they don't know how to give constructive feedback doesn't mean they're a bad person. They just maybe never learned that particular communication skill. So be patient with them and remember to smile and be good to each other. All right. Take care. I love you all, and I'll see you in Azeroth.